Hello, and welcome to this video session by SuperAlgos today. My name is Qasim Khan, and I will be telling you about SuperAlgos, and we are going to be discussing things with the founder of SuperAlgos, Luis Molina. Before we start, I would like to say a few words in advance that algorithms have taken over our whole digital lifestyle. And on the trading perspective, algorithms, it's been about more than 10 years that algorithms are fighting other algorithms on the market. And basically, these services were so complex and they had a multitude of complexity that wasn't possible that you could easily use algorithms for trading before. But now, as the world is as the software is getting more advanced, services are getting more advanced. There is a new opportunity out there and a new product out there, which is called Super Algos. On behalf of Super Algos, myself, Qasim Khan, I would like to introduce Mr. Luis Molina. And I would like to know, first of all, what is Super Algos? What is the vision behind it? And how did you come up with this powerful idea to simplify trading? Hello, Lewis. How are you?
Hello, Qasim. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you. It is definitely a pleasure of mine to be, speaking to a founder of Super Algos. And, as you introduce the token itself and the cryptocurrency market space and the ideology behind Super Algos, I went through it. I found it very impressive. And that's why we are doing this video today to tell other people how nice, fundamentally easy, and what makes Super Algo so powerful. So, Lewis, would you like to first tell us a little about yourself, your background, your education, what you did throughout your career, and let's start with that.
Okay. I was born in Argentina, and I studied physics, but I dropped out from college from physics and started working on IT very early on. And I started my career doing banking systems. Okay, I was very young, and very quickly I managed to get to a very good level in banking. I'm talking about 25 or more years ago, when banks were starting to get online. Okay, was the time that banks were starting to implement their first internet banking systems, and that was the time when I was working on that sector. It was it was very good, really. And soon after that, I turned into an entrepreneur. First, I was employed for 4 or 5 years, and then I started by myself, and then started hiring people, and I became like organically an entrepreneur, and founded a company for doing banking software. And then, um, then continue like in more entrepreneurial way, creating different projects and one after each other for years. And I found myself in 2013 learning about Bitcoin. Okay. And I was in the middle of another project, so I left that project to start a crypto project. But back in 2013, that was called Internet of People. That um, we worked there, a very interesting project also, but didn't really take off. So I left the project and started SuperAlgos by myself, together with a few friends. That was like 5 years, 4 or 5 years ago. That's how we
That's
got here.
very, very nice. So, what inspired you to start Super Algos?
When I was going out from the previous project, I have a professional trader that is a friend of mine, that he was encouraging me to automate some trading ideas he had. So he found me like in a piece of my life that I have free time, and with enough IT knowledge to do it. So I started working on that. But soon I realized that it was not worth to just to automate one single trading strategy, because you might need to change it, or you might need to come up with other ideas. Okay, so I started coding what would become a platform for automating trading. Um, just because I didn't want to do just one strategy itself. So when I
Right.
started deviating from that original idea, I open sourced what I was doing, and slowly people start joining. And one of the first who joined me was my brother Julian, and then some other developers, and the project has been growing since then. And yeah, that's the origin of the story of how we started.
Okay. So, what is what problem does SuperAlgos solve for the planet, being an open source community and crypto backed?
Well, that's a good question. Initially, I tried to solve the problem of my trader friend, but he waited for me 1 year, 2 years. He got tired. He's still around in the project, but
Right.
first I tried to solve his problem. Then I got involved, like deeply into algorithmic trading, and
Mhm.
so we tried to focus on the problem of people who wants to, because what was the kind of the second problem beyond my professional trader. There is a lot of
Mhm.
people that are mostly developers that are going around trying to automate some trading ideas. Okay, so usually there are a lot of open source projects there, but but they are specific for a certain strategy. Some of them already have multiple strategies of certain types, but it's really very difficult because you have to be a developer, and also there is a lot of things that you have to do. Think that for in order to run a strategy, you not only have to create a strategy or code a strategy, you also need to download the information, historical information from the exchanges, right? Then maybe you want to process that information to
Mhm.
identify patterns or whatever, do the like kind of data mining. Okay, then you would like to backtest your strategies. Okay, then you would like to run those strategies, but those strategies have to run in a way that they are resilient. They cannot fail in the middle of a trade and make you lose money just because there is a bug. Okay, or because the internet went off, or the electricity went off, or whatever. So uh, when you realize it's much more complex than what any developer originally expects. Okay, so um, that's why over the years, what I was seeing is that a lot of people are always trying, mostly developers, but then when they find all these difficulties, then they give up. And then new developers come, and then they give up because it's really much harder than what every developer expect. Okay, they think that because they are clever and that they are developer, they already know how to code, and they have some idea of trading, that creating a bot is an easy stuff and it's a piece of cake. But it's really not when you are going to do something seriously. Okay, if you're going to trade with $100 and you don't care if you lose them or not, then no problem. But if you're going to trade with a lot of money, then it's much more difficult. So the first problem was to how do we make it easier for developers, even for developers, to deploy trading strategies, okay, without the need for them to having to download the data from the exchange by themselves, having to plot the data in a custom way by themselves, having to create an engine for backtesting by themselves, having to create an execution environment for orders by themselves, and in a way that is flexible enough so that you can design the strategies and it's not just for one strategy. And then um, how do you deploy this? What if you want to run not one trading bot in one market, but you want to run 10 bots in 100 markets? Okay, you will need more than one hardware. Okay, so and how are these things are going to be coordinated between each other? When you start, every word that I'm saying is a huge amount of work if somebody wants to do all this by themselves. So what we were doing were, with each of the features that we were adding, we are facilitating for any developer that wants to really automate their trading. We are removing effort for them. So each of these things, the capacity to deploy in multiple machines, the backtesting engine, the charting system, every step that we were adding, or every feature, we're removing things for developers to do, because they just can reuse what we are doing that is open source and is free. So why code all that again if this is working and it's free? Okay.
Very nice. I have okay. So far, what I understand is that one, SuperAlgos is free. Two, it has done a lot of work by experience by which the developers can easily adapt to it. Three, they can run multiple strategies, multiple bots from the same hardware. They can trade in multiple markets from the same hardware, from the same platform. And if I'm not wrong, you can even run it on a Raspberry Pi machine. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. We create this software like for ourselves. You see the difference when somebody builds a house to rent it and when you build it for yourself? It's different because you're not put the same quality of stuff in things that are for yourself that when you do it
Mhm,
for somebody else. Okay, so this is a kind of project that was built for ourselves, for whoever is part of the community. Okay, and
mhm,
that means that we put a lot of effort to make it as good as we can for ourselves, and that includes also these kind of philosophies that we follow. For example, we don't have advertisement. Okay, because we hate when we download a software that force you to see ads. Okay, we don't require authentication or login information because we don't care about who you are. Okay, we don't want your email. We don't want to send you email. We don't want to see what you're doing using the software. We don't collect private information because this is the kind of software that we would like to exist. Okay, so,
mhm,
so this is the
mhm,
core philosophy of this. We would like to be free, to be open source, community owned, with no ads,
mhm.
with no collection of information of any kind. Okay, and we are going to
A
keep it
lot
like.
of Yeah, Louis, thank you. A lot of the algo strategy, platforms which are available online, they charge you a number of money, and but still they have these issues of, they they face problems of execution at many given times, and that's where people get stuck. So does SuperAlgos inherit the same thing when it goes to market, and sometimes the execution may be disrupted by anything? Is that the case with SuperAlgos as well?
Well, there is a difference, a big difference between the software that is run by a company and then a software that you run by yourself, because then you have all these good properties that nobody see your strategy, nobody can steal your ideas, nobody can front run you because everything happens in your machine and nobody's collecting data. But on the other side, you need to be competent enough to run it in a way that is resilient. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to run it in a Raspberry Pi, but it happens that you live in a country where electricity goes down every day, like in some Caribbean countries, for instance,
Mhm,
then that's not a good idea. Okay,
mhm,
if you run it on a cloud server, then it's a better idea. Okay, so it's up to you. It's not really the software. The software is tested enough because people have been using it for a few years. Um, but then there are a lot of things that you have to solve by yourself because it's a software that you run by yourself. Okay. So there is a difference between the software that is run by a company. Okay.
Okay, just to resonate your thoughts out there to all of the trading world, may it be financially, maybe it may be any market or Wall Street or all of the bigger markets. What is the efficiency of execution of super algos so far in percentage?
Do you mean
If, for example, it was supposed to execute 1,000 trades on a certain strategy, has it been successfully able to do it? Yes or no?
well, I cannot tell you because you should ask that question for people operating the software. So far, my role here is developing the code base. Okay, I am not the one running a trading operation. Although we are going to start one, but not as SuperAlgos, but as private people that are teaming up together, and they are going to start running a trading operation, and then we can see all that. Otherwise, in the history of the project, I told you it's like 4 years. Okay, 4 or 5, between 4 and 5 years. It took
Mhm.
more or less 2 years to have something more or less working. At the third year, then we had a version that we could use. Okay, and of course we start using it. Myself and the other people start using it. Okay, and then I realized that there was another problem beyond all the ones that I described already. That was on my personal way. Okay, the problem was that I am probably a good software developer, but I am not a data scientist, and I am not an expert on machine learning, and I am not a professional trader, and I haven't read 100 books of trading. And that means that even if I am a good coder, there are a lot of things that are still lacking on me. So I would like to use the software together with a team, okay, together with more people, okay. But then you are introducing like a counterparty risk, because if I team with you and 10 other people that I met over the internet, then how are we going to trade? Are we going to pool all the money together and trade together? That's a risk for people who met over the internet. Okay, so the problem emerged of how do we allow ourselves to join forces together, okay, without counterparty risk, without pooling the money together, so that we can create a common infrastructure as users, not as the project itself, but as users. How do we create a team where some people could be, where we could have a professional trader or a data scientist or a machine learning expert. We can have also software developers, people doing specifically back test or any of the roles that are needed or specialties that are needed. But uh, we can run a data mining operation, build custom indicators, put them to run, and also we can create the trading strategies, put them to run. Okay, and from there we can, how do we do all this in a without counterparty risk, in a way that we can extract signals from there, and each one runs their own bot with their own keys. Okay, so that problem emerged. So we have been working for more than a year on the solution of that, and we finally finished the solution at the end of last year. Okay, so now we have,
Mhm.
like, let's say, like the second version of SuperAlgos that is not for individuals but is for teams. Version kind of like version one was for individuals, but version two is for teams. So I traded with the software for a while until I found myself coding again for almost 2 more years until we get to the teams version. Now we have the teams version, and I know at least since last year that 1 month happened, I know at least two teams that are forming, that are going to work in teams with exactly this, with professional traders, to, together with data scientists, together with mathematicians, together with software developers, and as a team, they are going to produce, they are going to run a trading operation together without counterparty risk. Okay, so once that is rolling, I will be able to answer all these other details.
That's thank you for your answer, and I think that quantifies a lot. Um, I downloaded SuperAlgos, and I find it very simplified, and even a layman person like me can easily use it. And thank you for making and simplifying the software and its usage. And my again, I had a question because before crypto, I was trading in Nasdaq and the OTC markets and the European markets and the London
Mhm.
Stock Exchange. So right now, I find that SuperAlgos is only integrated with the crypto markets. Do you have any plans to integrate with other worldwide markets?
Yes, of course, there are plans, but the way we operate is as an open source project. So the software evolves with contributions of people willing to spend time and energy in moving the project forward. The project is really very, very open and it has many different dimensions of where to expand itself. Okay. And
Mhm.
they are already listed in the GitHub repository under a section of called projects. There are all the projects that already have been implemented and the ones that are ideas to be implemented. And on those at that list, you will find that uh, expanding the software to be used with stocks or other type of electronic market is one of the expansion ideas. Okay, as well as many other expansion
Okay,
ideas over
good.
there. Yeah, but it doesn't depend really on me. It depends on somebody that would like to take that direction and code what is missing to get to that point. Okay, it's not on my personal roadmap in the short term. Anyway, I have other roadmap with different ideas that I think that are good in where to expand the product. But there are many people working on the software, expanding it in different directions.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Please tell me, what are the requisites? For example, there must be some person who's a professional trader. He's trading into one of the electronic trading platforms. So if he wants to use super algos, I want to hear it from you. What are the skill requisites he requires, and in how many days can he be up and running?
Well, we know we are building a platform for algo traders. That is a very niche market. Is an overlap of people who are technical, not necessarily developers, but many of them are, and also that have some background on trading. So a minimum knowledge on that would be kind of required. Uh, Unless you are going to be doing custom indicators, you probably don't need to code at all. Okay, because we have implemented a visual interface, kind of that is called scripting, visual scripting. Okay, uh, where you connect nodes with drag and drop, uh, and you create like visually. You can design your strategies, and you can design not only the strategy but also all the operation, including which machines are going to run which tasks. That includes which bots, and everything is designed in this case. So it was possible to use this interface almost for every feature that the software has as of today, except when you're creating custom indicators that you need some kind of logic to transform certain data into another data. Okay, so that transformation probably is not very advanced coding either. It's like quite simple, to be honest. But you need to know a little bit of coding to make this transformation. When you want to transform candles into Bollinger Bands, or Bollinger Bands into channels, or channels into whatever your imagination tells you you want to transform it, you need
Mhm.
some coding skill, but only there. The rest, for a trading strategy, you don't need to know how to code at all.
Oh, okay. That's amazing. I mean, that simplifies the whole equation. I have another question. There are a lot of charting softwares which offer an unlimited number of indicators. SuperAlgos library, how many indicators does it offer? And if the indicators are not available, What does any person do in that case?
Well, what we did was from the beginning, we created an infrastructure that made it easy for users to create their own indicators. Okay, the idea was to have more power at the time that you are thinking of your strategy, so that you can customize it beyond the normal customization of defining parameters. Okay, it's not just changing. Uh, I don't know how many candles the moving average is going to consider or not. It's not this type of customization. I'm talking about coding the procedure that produces the data transformation. So you are free to do whatever you can imagine. Okay. So we thought that was very powerful. And the idea was to uh, also add like indicators libraries, because there are a lot of software libraries with indicators. But over time, people start creating their own indicators, and even though some people ask for why don't we use also the libraries that are out there and open source, it's like
Mhm.
nobody took the time to connect these libraries in, or to implement it into the software, or to reuse it into the software. So as of today, we are only doing or you can only do custom indicator or reusing the indicators that some other people have already created. I I I I heard that the list is between 100 and 150 custom indicators that contains obviously all the most well known, plus some that are really very very advanced. And but yeah, as again, that dimension of that's another dimension, like connecting the software with the stock market or other type of electronic market. Expanding the indicator capability is another dimension, but there are so many dimensions because of the project doesn't define itself as something that is this and here it finished. On the contrary, it's the opposite. It's a software that it will never stop growing, because it is created in a way that allows it to grow in multiple dimensions. So nobody has gone into the direction of bringing all these indicators that are already libraries and plug it into the software. Some people user mentioned the idea, but nobody actually went and did it as of today.
So, thank you very much. I think you are really answering so many questions for so many people out there. Okay, I have two questions, but I will ask them in a sequence. One, how big is the Super Algos community? And what would you say are the three top successes of the community?
Okay, how big? I cannot give you an exact figure because of what I was telling you before. We don't collect any type of information. So um, we what we
Maybe
have,
you can quantify with the number of Telegram users or GitHub.
yeah,
You
there
know.
are a few thousand. I think like less than 2,000 Telegram users, and
Mhm,
maybe the same or around in Discord, but I don't enter in Discord. Um,
mhm,
uh, I'm not the one also seeing the statistic, but we have the counter of downloads from GitHub
mhm,
server. I cannot tell you if it was 5,000, 50,000 in a year, or but I could be totally wrong because I'm not the one that knows this. Is Julian the
okay.
one tracking the statistics? But
Mhm.
yeah, there's many people that use the software, but they don't get into the community because they don't need to.
50,000 is a sizable number for like a niche market like algo design and strategy testers.
Yeah, but those are downloads. That doesn't mean that they are using the software either. So, yeah, we really don't know. What we believe is that once we deploy the peer-to-peer network, that is what is coming next, and then we start having this social trading application that we can talk about that later. then there will be more visibility because
Mhm.
this we are going to be able to collect information of how many people get connected or are following whom. This is public information, so it's not that we are going to be collecting, but it's just public information.
Mhm. Okay. Uh, okay. One question, and it's a very important question, and I want you to answer it. With whatever you can think about it. Can you tell me the successes of super algos from an algorithmic trading perspective? That how much success has been found by one designing and deploying the execution, and how good are the traders, and what were the results of those executions on super algos?
Well, if you are a trader yourself, and
I know it's
but
open source. I know it's
but
open source, but
but people
just tell
usually,
me from what.
yeah,
Hmm.
I to be honest, I never ask anybody uh, how successful they are on trading. Some people uh, once or twice told me that they were operating successfully. One guy told me that he paid for his university by trading with SuperAlgo. But the fact that the software is not collecting this information, plus that I am not asking, just out of respect of privacy, then I cannot tell you any specific figures. Again, once we start this group trading operations, that is not the SuperAlgos project itself, but as users, okay, we are teaming up
Hmm.
and becoming part of a trading operation. We are going to most likely be publishing these kind of figures so as to encourage people to create their own teams and to
Hmm.
use the software and blah blah blah. But as of today, because the use as of today is individual, and we are very careful with this privacy respecting stuff, so I cannot know who is making money or how much or what they are doing exactly.
Okay. So before we do our next video, would you like to randomly sample and maybe have a normal distribution curve on, uh, how many successful are there? Just create, if you can get some sample, like how successful. You told me one person paid for his university, or a few more people, but I understand that you don't ask because it's open source. But you, as the founder, because you're leading a whole community, the teams is the next level of this. But just to give people a taste of version one, like if somebody can collect this information before our next interview, it would be really something which I feel has to be out there, because I know a few people who used it, and because I'm a Telegram user of SuperAlgos as well. So I asked a few people, and they've been telling me a number of success stories, and which I will not say here, because it should come from directly the Super Algos Foundation. Although I'm a part of the community, but I, I I would request to collect this information for our next interview.
I will think about it because I am very privacy oriented guy, and I built the whole
Oh,
software without collecting information. So me going and asking is like not something that I'm sure I'm going to do. But
maybe a poll or something.
well,
Anybody who can collect this information. You don't have to ask it. You have
yeah,
Julian
what I
and
can promise you is that once we start operating in teams, that we are going to be
Mhm,
very transparent, even if we make money or not. Because
mhm,
to be honest, I don't think it depends that much on the software itself. Well, the software is a tool, but the software doesn't
mhm.
include the strategies. It's like
I know.
yeah, this is like Photoshop. I compare it to Photoshop. Photoshop, you can do
Mhm,
beautiful pictures if you are a good artist. Okay, but the
mhm,
tool Photoshop is very powerful. It has many filters, many ways to manipulate images. Okay, but
mhm,
but you cannot measure. I mean, the, if people they don't put energy into their strategy, or they do everything wrong, they are going to lose money no matter which tool they have. Okay, so
Mhm.
what I can promise you is that once we start these trading operations in teams, we are going to be reporting to the world, so that people know what is possible, and not only about how much we are, how successful we are doing this, but also we are going to give given a lot of detail of how we are organizing ourselves, and how we are implementing the data mining, the workflow of building the strategies, testing this and that. So we are going to be documenting everything, and also publishing information, and we can talk about that, so that people, so that's to encourage people to create their own teams, and work together. Okay, because that's the next phase of the project essentially, is how do we enable, and this is the key differentiator, or going to be, or starting to be the key differentiator between SuperAlgos and the other 5,000 open source projects that are over there. In the other 5,000 open source projects, you have to be at the same time a software developer, a data scientist, a professional trader, have to read 100 trading books, be a mathematician, a back tester, and
Mhm.
everything together. Okay, so SuperAlgo is the only one that is going to allow you to team with your friends or with random people in the internet, and each one put the best of their knowledge. Okay, if you have experience in trading, then you probably don't need to be the one installing the servers, okay, or monitoring that all the infrastructure is working. Okay,
Excellent.
so
Excellent.
this is the key differentiator with the work of the last few years. Okay, is that you can now team, and there is no limit in the amount of people you can team with 100 people. Imagine what you can do if you have 3 or 4 mathematicians, 5, 6, 10 software developers that can help you,
Wow.
2 or 3 data scientists, 3 or 4, and you put yourself a mission, and then you work towards that mission. Okay, so
That's really something. That sounds so powerful. So, what are your what are Super Algos milestones for 2022, and what can people expect in 2022? What kind of projects are you working on? When are the launch dates, and like what do you think about 2022, and what do you want to do with it?
yeah, the mission for 2022 is to implement the peer-to-peer network. We want to we are working on, I am personally pushing one of the dimensions. I told you that SuperAlgo is like a sphere with many spikes in many directions. Okay, I am pushing some
Mhm.
of this stuff forward. Okay, and the ones that I am pushing personally are the ones that I can tell you more specifically. I want to complement the platform that we already have for algo traders with technology that can be used by any regular crypto user. Okay, because as you know, algo trader is a very niche market. Is maybe, I don't know, there might be 10,000 people in the world trying to automate crypto trading at a certain point in time, maybe 20,000, but there are 200 million crypto users. Okay, 200 million growing exponentially. Okay, so the
Wow.
question is, how do we allowed all these people to benefit from these technologies? Okay, so to solve that problem, that specific problem, what is the idea? The idea is the following: we already have a platform for algo trader that is working, that has a lot of things, and that is moving forward. So what can we give to the 200 million people? Well, we cannot give them a platform for algo traders, because they are nothing of all the things that I was repeating all the time. They are not a developer, they are not a mathematician, they are not that, and they are never going to be anything of that. The only thing that they can do, most of them, is use an application very similar to Twitter or a social network in general. They already learn how to
Mhm.
use this stuff, they are familiar with this. So, what we are
Mhm.
going to be building is uh, one mobile application that is going to have a desktop version very similar to Twitter. Okay, So they can follow other users, and they can post, they can react, they can like, repost, the same thing, that basic things that Twitter can do. Okay. But
Mhm.
it's going to be running, the back end of this is going to be the SuperAlgos peer-to-peer network. Okay. The SuperAlgos peer-to-peer network is going to be the backbone of this social network, Twitter-like. Okay. Once we reach that point and these applications are there, then we are going to add like version 2 of this application. So we are going to allow you not only to have your account, Qasim, in this application, that you can follow me and I can follow somebody else. We are going to allow you to have uh, bots in your application, in that application. Your bot essentially is not that you're going to be designing a strategy with your phone. That's not the idea. The idea that we are going to create like a second layer, where the first layer are humans that follow each other, and the second layers are bots that follow each other. Okay, so it's like a social network for bots. Okay, so these bots,
Ooh.
this bot, your bot can follow my bot can follow somebody else's bot. Okay, so what's the idea? That with the minimum knowledge possible that a regular crypto user might have, I mean, one of these 200 million person that is following, they can make their bot follow some other bot, and by following them, what they are going to be doing is executing whatever the bot they are following is executing. So uh, they are going to be copy trading by just following. Okay, so uh, then if my bot trades, then your bot trades. Okay, and then all the bots of the people that are following you make the same trade. Okay, in cascade. Okay, then we are going to obviously connect this infrastructure with the algo traders, the ones that are using the platform. So uh, let's say that I have, I don't know, a lot of people following me, or you have a lot of people following you, and you might be an algo trader. So maybe you are using the platform, and from the platform, you are running an actual trading bot that is not copying anybody. Okay. You are running one with a strategy you design. Okay. And you're going to be sending signals
Mhm.
inside this peer-to-peer network that is going to be distributed to all your followers. Okay. Okay, so everybody that is following you, imagine how many people have told you that are friends of yours or family, hey, you're a trader, why don't you trade for me, or you at least tell me when you buy Bitcoin, because I also want to buy, or tell me when it's going to go down so I sell it. Okay, so it's exactly
Mhm.
for that, so that all your friends and family that doesn't know anything about trading, you can say, okay, look, sister, download this application, I know you can, and find me there. Okay, create a Bitcoin bot, and with the bot, follow my Bitcoin bot. So whenever my Bitcoin bot sells, your is going to sell, and whenever my bot buy, is going to buy. So you don't have to give me the money. I have to be responsible for your money, even if your family or friend, you don't want to be managing 100 friends' money, okay? Because anything can happen to you,
Mhm.
and you know all the problems, okay? So, and it goes beyond friends. Maybe you have followers in Twitter. You are an influencer, or not. Maybe you have a few thousand, 10,000, 100,000. You might say, okay, guys, follow me here, and whenever I trade, you will trade, okay? And for free. I'm not even going to charge you, because there is a chance that I am producing the signals, or maybe I just following somebody else that knows more than me. Okay, for example, these teams that are forming now of scientists. Okay, so maybe we all end up following these teams. Okay, so this is what is coming. This is the vision that I am pushing. That is regardless of the vision of other people that are pushing and building in other directions. Okay, so I'm going to be coding uh, the peer-to-peer network and all the infrastructure for trading signals that I mentioned. Okay, so that all this can happen. There are already two teams working, one on the mobile application and the other on the desktop version of this application. Okay, and I already
Mhm.
have make two iteration of the peer-to-peer network. So we are going to have the beta test version of the network uh, running. It's already running, I would say, because in the last few days I heard about two people that put the first nodes on the internet. So this is like the last of the information, okay, that we have.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So we have the first nodes running, and people will be able to start adding nodes to the network, and then
Mhm.
these start growing, and people will be able to use this application to follow each other and follow these trading teams.
Wonderful. I think you have just, blown me away, because this is the first time I'm getting a real introduction of what you're working on. And I definitely think, I think in times to come, years down the line, you will be known as the Tony Stark of algorithmic trading. You know? So, yeah. And,
Maybe I will be the one
uh,
coding because I am. I want the other guys. That is exactly what it happens. It's not a story that I am inventing to you to tell you a nice story. The real story is that when I finished the version one of the platform and I wanted to start trading, I start trading, but I start like having mixed results, let's say. But then I realized, do I want to spend my time designing in the custom indicators? No, that's not my passion. Okay, my passion is writing the code of the code base. Okay, so even if I had to, it's not my passion, and it's not my passion uh, doing the server installation. Okay, the deployment of all the server, the configuration. That's not my passion. I prefer somebody else to do it. Okay, so then I realized that that problem is also not only mine. It's a problem that many people might have. Okay, because it's this is comparable. What is going on today is comparable to the ancient times. Okay, imagine yourself sometime in the past, like maybe 200-300 years, or maybe 1,000 years. Okay, and you're out of your small village somewhere in Europe. Okay, and then suddenly you find in a village probably you do your own knife, you do your own tools. Thousands years ago, Middle Ages or before. Okay, so there was almost no specialization by that time. Okay, and in the middle of a mountain or a hill, you find yourself with the Roman army. Okay, so it's totally different when people can get organized together and each one doing whatever is needed according to their specialization than when you had to do everything by yourself. You have been trading yourself. How many books you have to learn, how many you have to learn to code if you wanted to automate, how many platforms you have to. Wouldn't it be nice to be part of a team? Of course it would be nice, but the problem that the only ones who have teams are companies like funds and banks and things like that, but they are not going to allow you to trade with their algorithms, will they? Of course not. Okay,
not at all.
yeah, they are going to trade with their own capital, and all the profits that come from your effort and your brain are going to their pocket. Okay. So what we are saying here is let's team up together. You are a clever guy. I'm a clever guy. Let's team up with another 100 clever guys. We are not a bank. We are not going to put the money together. We're just going to put our brains together. Okay. So we might get the power of a team comparable of a team of a bank because they are just people like us. Okay. But we are going to trade, and the money we make is going to go to our pocket and not to the bank's pocket, like the system I was doing 20 or 30 years ago. Okay, all this system, internet banking system, when this was new that I was doing, the bank we made huge amount of money for that. Okay, but not me. Okay, so this is the problem I want to solve. How do we allow like clever people to team up together to make money for themselves with the same amount of power or more power than the banks and the funds and all these bigger players. Okay, so
Wonderful. I think
power to the people is the is the bottom line.
exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. SuperAlgos is definitely a revolution that's going to organize. I think it's going to be very soon that the whole world will hear about it, And so, all the viewers out there, I today I thank Luis Molina for this video and introducing to us, all his milestones about super algos. In our next videos, that we have planned, we are going to be speaking about how SuperAlgos works, and Mr. Molina and his team and some people from the community will also be joining us, and we are going to teach you how simplified it is, how SuperAlgo works, and how you can get started. It's going to be like a one, two, three, and our takeaways today are very massive. And one message from the founder himself is power to the people, and super algos is the trading revolution of the future. And I think it's something that everybody should join hands with super algos one way or the other. It's community based, it's free, they don't charge you any money, and you can design whatever idea you have through teams. If you don't have an idea of your own, you can follow somebody who has an idea, and that is the future of trading. Today, they are only connected with the crypto markets. In the future, they're going to be connected with other markets. And I think there's a prosperous future, a definite prosperous future, because if trading lives, super algos is going to be on the top. And the gentleman that I have interviewed today, he's the person who founded this idea. And he didn't make money while the banks were making money, a lot of money, but he's encouraging people to make money, by investing in time, skills, energy into this. Super Algos is available as a token on the cryptocurrency market. And I encourage you all to actually be a part of this community, have a look at Super Algos and contribute in whatever way you can. I myself am a contributor. And thank you very much for your time, Louis, today. And it was definitely a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Kasim, for having me.
Yeah. And until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you
And
all.
signing off here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.